Right. It's June 9th, 2025. We are here for the St. Helens Public Library Board meeting. Looks like we have a quorum here present, so we will call ourselves to order. Um, First section is our first item on the agenda is the visitor comments. I don't see anyone that's not part of staff or on the board, but we could be do both. Do a visitor's comment as a citizen while you're a board member. Are there any visitor comments? Anyone? Hearing nothing, I'll move on to approval of the minutes from the May 12th, 2025 meeting. They're in our packet. If you haven't had a chance to look at those, do so now. And I would entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from May 12th, 2025.
All right. So do we have a second? Rob raised his hand as a second. Any discussion, any questions or comments or changes requested on the minutes from our agenda packet? Hearing nothing, we'll go to a vote. All in favor of approving those minutes, say aye, raise your hand.
Aye.
Looks like we have a unanimous approval, so that motion passes. Old business, you have of note, back up a second. So our agenda needs to address, I guess, a couple additional things that are required by our bylaws and a follow-up to an action item we placed that was supposed to be on the agenda. The thing that should be on the agenda is the follow-up to the naming of the room. Ms. Wielden is going to be touching on that. And the other thing is this is the last this is meeting of our calendar year. So this is my last meeting as chair for the time being. Following this, Fatima will be chair, and we'll have to, as part of other business, I suppose, we will deal with nominating and electing a vice chair. Continuing on, the old business, as I just mentioned, the first item on there, the second item on our agenda is the strategic plan committee report. I'll touch on that because I'm on that subcommittee. Specifically, we're supposed to be addressing how to deal with the transformational plan, which is a component of our strategic plan. We did meet this afternoon and discuss that, and we had there'd been, I guess, some delay in resolving that because we weren't sure how to go about doing that. But we proposed, and we're asking the board to approve a process to adopt to deal with that portion of strategic plan, both now and going forward. And that would be to gather information relevant to where we have been, that is the services and items that the library has, and look at the budget as well and get information from the city. So that would be like the strategic planning survey questions that we put out, as well as questions for the city survey, and gather those together and meet with staff as well and get some idea of things that we want to focus more on and things that we think might have, I guess, outsized resources placed with respect to how much the community needs or wants those items. I know that's a lot to digest in one idea, but I guess the summary is going forward for the transformational plan as part of the strategic plan. We'll gather a bunch of information that I just detailed, and then meet with staff, and then make a recommendation to the full board as to where we are going to ask the library to go with. So like increasing certain services, or looking into creating a service, or decreasing the focus on certain other things. That's what we are asking the board to adopt as a process for a transformational plan now and in the future. So I will myself move that we adopt that process, and then that the subcommittee will proceed and carry that out for this 5-year portion of the strategic plan. And then next time we have a strategic plan, we'd pursue the same process.
I'll second that motion, Aaron.
All right, that was a lot for the person who's going to be taking minutes to write down. But any discussion on that or questions about the transformational plan or that suggested process? Hearing no questions, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor of adopting that process?
Aye.
Aye.
We are unanimously in favor. And then we'll continue to the next item. That's the Makerspace fundraising subcommittee report. I believe that was Mr. Ectornoctor J. He's not here, as my understanding. He may have a baseball obligation, so we will not be hearing from him this evening. Next is new business. Does anyone have anything else that we should discuss as new business?
Would you like to talk about the naming?
I guess I didn't know where to put that under
Yeah.
other business or new business. We can just do it now.
Sorry.
Aaron, it's my understanding you have a couple of suggestions, and I think what we had discussed was you collect those, and then we adopt one of them and ask that the city council name the room.
I went and met with Brenda, and she showed me the local history room that she's setting up. And she's so passionate and so knowledgeable, and it was really fun to talk to her about it. So she had some suggestions. She had quite a few suggestions, actually. And I'll list out my top 4, and then I will tell you her top 1, which I agree with. And I totally, this is definitely her passion project. It's really fun to talk to somebody who's has such great feelings about what they're doing. One of the suggestions is Diane Cheney Kim Memorial Room. Diane Cheney Kim, she donated the first $1 million to fund the construction of the Columbia Center. And then the community raised another $800,000 to match. That's one option. Another option is Marianne Christensen. She's actually Diane Kim's daughter, and she's been instrumental in the continuation of her mom's vision. Is responsible for setting up the Chance to Become scholarship through the high school. And I remember when my kids were in high school, some of the kids getting that. McCormick is another option. Obviously, because we're on the McCormick Park grounds or abut it. And but the last one is Lou Witt. So St. Helens was named for Mount St. Helens, and Lou Witt is the Native American name for St. Helens. There was a auditorium at the high school for many years, the Lou Witt Auditorium, but that will no longer be there with the construction. So to hold on to the name, Lou Witt Local History Room would be a good option. And that was Brenda's favorite, and I tend to agree with her. She's put so much work into this, and I have a lot of respect for her suggestions and what she prefers. So we have Lou Witt, Diane Cheney Kim, Marianne Christensen, and McCormick.
Just point of clarification, are they all going to end local history room?
Say that again?
Will they all end with the local history room? So it's the name local history
I don't think
room?
they have to.
was just curious.
Brenda thought
Brenda,
Diane Cheney Kim Memorial Room, but I don't know about we could talk about that. I think local history room lets people know what it is very clear.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
trying to write it down. I want to make sure I get it written down right.
Yeah.
I like Louet personally. Like when someone asks, like, what is Louet? And it's like, oh, it's the Native American name for St. Helens. And
Yeah.
there you go. Like
Yep.
the other ones, it's like, well,
Yeah.
I agree. I like Louet a lot. I think it's a good name for that room.
I also support Louet. So
So Louet Local History Room would be the official
Yeah.
name, I guess.
Let's, I think we just put it to a quick vote. I'll put forward the motion to adopt Louet Local History Room as the name of that room. Do I have a second? Lynn got it first, then second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of that name?
Aye.
Looks like we are unanimous. So that'd be an action item, I suppose, Suzanne, to relay that request to the City Council.
Yep, what I'd like to do is, Brenda and I'll draft a paragraph, just an explanatory paragraph, and then Aaron W., would you mind weighing in on that and just making sure that we have the language the way you would like? And then what I'm going to do is send this to all the board members. I think protocol wise, it won't be a concern for us to do that outside of a meeting, but I just ask everybody to just make any comments or edits that you'd like to make before I submit it to the City Council. And unless that all got done tomorrow, it'll have to wait till their first July meeting. So we have some time to take care of that. If that works for everybody, that's the process I'll undertake. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Right. Next would be the library director's report.
Oh my gosh, there's so much going on. Oh, Dan, you do have a
I was gonna
question?
say, did you want to cover the choosing a vice chair for next year?
Oh
Or
yeah.
do you want to do other business?
I guess I had that noted under other business. We can do that as well right now. So as we discussed, so we need a new vice chair. Rob can tell you about how great that is. He's done it as well, and I was. So basically, the bylaws lay out. You're the vice chair for the year going forward, and then following that, you'd be the chair. So Fatima has been the vice chair this past year, and then she will take over for me starting next month. But this person would not have any immediate obligations. If the chair were to be sick or out for some reason, you'd have to run the meeting. So it'd be a good idea to get some grasp of what's the Robert's Rules of Order, basically asking for a motion, a second, and discussion, and then vote. But that's about it, and you keep our organization functioning. So if we have a volunteer, we would all appreciate it. Anyone?
and if you've already done it, when you've already done it, you can't do it again, right?
You may do it again.
Oh, well,
Rob?
Well,
my term is up at the end of the month and I am
well.
not renewing, or I would volunteer for the record.
Thanks, Diana.
I'm hesitating because I'm on 3 other executive committees. And
Has been the chair and vice chair already.
Rob has.
Lynn has,
Jana.
Jana.
Is Lynn for the library board? I thought that was you were talking about other committees.
yeah, well, I'm on other committees, but on executive committees,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
as
yeah,
a vice
lot-
chair. And
Yeah.
Oh, right.
in the
I misspoke.
community.
You haven't been on that. Yeah. I think of everyone present, Rob, Aaron, Jana, are the three that have served as chair or vice chair?
I can
Yes.
volunteer then by process of elimination, I guess.
Well,
Thank you.
Anyway, I was thinking if I do it, can I do it? Because my term would run out. I don't know. That would be an issue as well. But anyway, so we have.
Oh, so you could do it. You could be the vice chair.
I'm not sure, but
There's nothing
um,
in the bylaws that would preclude it.
I guess my thought would be subject to an approval of me continuing on the board for another 3 years at the end of this coming year. But I can do that. So with that said, Ellen, do you still want to volunteer, or you want to step back and wait for us to put pressure on you next year?
I don't know, whatever y'all think's best.
All right, then we'll just ask. I don't know. I nominated myself. Ellen nominated herself. We'll ask for a vote for those nominees. I don't know how to do that. I'd ask, just given that I'm a nominee, I'd ask somebody else to run that vote. Rob, could you do that?
Sure. I guess I'll just go in order. So all in favor for Ellen to be vice chair? Raise your hands or say aye.
Or
And all in favor for Aaron to be vice chair? Raise your
4
hands.
more years.
Oh,
Can you
Aaron,
vote for both? I mean, I don't have, I mean, either way.
We could have a-
I don't know if you can.
I don't
we
think
could have
we'd be
a
in poor
past chair.
hands.
I mean, the bylaws does allow for a past chair. We just haven't done it, but it is in the bylaws.
Yeah, they don't
I
have
didn't
the.
realize Aaron was running. You totally can do it.
I know, right?
No, I
didn't understand. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought I threw it
No,
out.
if that's
as,
something you want to do, Aaron, please go ahead.
Yeah.
Aaron wins.
Okay, so what's
Okay.
what's the outcome?
Aaron,
Sorry, great. All right, then I am starting next month. I will be vice chair, and I'll cover for Fatima if she is out or whatnot. And then next year, assuming I'm still on the board, which I plan to be, I will return. Dan, you know.
Do you want to make a motion?
That's, I make a motion to approve and nominate or approve Aaron's appointment to vice chair starting next month.
Okay.
All in favor?
You have a second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
I
I forgot how this works. It's been a
All
day.
right. Fair enough. All right. Library director's report. You have a lot
Right.
for us.
Okay. Let's see. So, beginning with board members, we have the one position. Again, Diana, thank you so much for everything you've done for the library. I hope we haven't seen the last of you. I hope we keep enjoying your advocacy, and we really appreciate that. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, and I would love to come back, but I went by my house this weekend and we finally have walls. Like it's not just drywall, it's actual walls in the whole house. So I'm like, we're so close.
Oh, congratulations. That's been such a project.
Thank you.
Yeah. So to that end, we have one person who's applied and one other person who has a great deal of interest. I'm going to be meeting with both of them this week, just to talk about what that entails. The deadline for first consideration, if you will, is the end of this week. So at the July meeting, the board can interview those people who are have applied for the position, just like we did with Aaron, and make a decision. So you may have at least, well, we have one already applied. There may be as many as 2 or 3 total. So that's pretty neat. We have at least one person who has expressed their interest because of the budget committee process and how how engaged they got really engaged around the library because of what was happening during the budget committee. So another huge thank you to the board and everyone else who spoke up because it has, ripple effects, and that's one of them, which I think is pretty neat. Okay, funding. So, 2 days ago, a U.S. district judge said that the Trump administration may dismantle IMLS. He also kicked it, if that's the right term, to the Court of Federal Claims. Aaron, could you explain what that is?
Or
do you know? I
that's
mean-
outside of
Okay.
the realm of my area of practice.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's, I'm sure. Well, anyway, so there is still a possibility that IMLS will rise from the ashes, but at this point, they are not in the president's proposed budget. They are not in the budget that this House passed. As you know, the Senate's considering it. It has to go back to the House, blah, blah, blah. So we don't know what's going to happen there. The good news is, if there is any good news, is that the LSTA, as of Friday, the LSTA funding was fully approved for federal FY 2025, which means that would be spent through September 30th, 2026. The state would be able to spend it. The allotment for Oregon, and as I think I said in other meetings, the allotment is based on population size. The allotment from LSTA is $2,593,238. And then Oregon matches it. All states match it. Their match is $1,335,910 for a total funding of state library of about $4 million, give or take a little bit of change. What that allows, provided that all of that money has been received, it's been approved, but all the funding has not been received yet. Provided that it's received, then the state can go forward as always. Staff is fully funded. All of the services that they provide are fully funded. The resources, they're fully funded. The one thing they have decided not to do in the coming year, just because of the challenges with the uncertainty around funding, is the large competitive grants that they disperse every year. It's about $350,000. Those are the grants that are up to $50,000. Those are almost all projects that individual libraries or library systems apply for. There's actually Oregon Humanities and somebody else that's Oregon Humanities is also applied. Anyway, so those funds are almost all project-based. Most of those are not. There's a couple that are continuations of earlier grants, but all the rest of them are new. So it's definitely devastating, but it's not going to have, it's not going to put any library out of business, I guess. It's not operating funds. It's projects, new projects, or additional resources for projects that they are undertaking. So that's, good-ish news. If the state doesn't get their full funding, then what's going to first be pulled back is some of the services like access to professional development and some of those other kinds of services. And then also things like Libby. And we won't lose all of Libby, but we would lose a substantial amount of the catalog, if you will. Answerland, which is I think we've talked about this, a product where it's 24/7, people can submit questions, librarians answer it. Most public libraries use them very little. They're mostly academic libraries that use that service. And there are some other smaller ones. The Gale Research Suite we would no longer have access to that. So there would be an impact on the library. Right now, it's kind of promising, I guess. And I think the bottom line is if what they pare back to is just staff, that's an incredible gift to our library and to the library community. I mean, as you all know, we rely on them so much for statistics and professional support and, everything from a couple of years ago, we were trying to decide what the criteria for us would be as what's the word I'm looking for? Reporters. If there's if we're concerned about child abuse, what's that called?
Mandatory reporter.
Mandatory reporting.
Mandatory, thank you. Mandatory reporters. There was some question around the state law about who in the library, what library staff are required to be mandatory reporters. And I got some really great support. Aaron, you helped me, and one of the staff at the state library really dug into that and helped me with that. So, I mean, just an amazing treasure trove, if you will. Speaking of budget, as you may have heard, the budget committee week before last, I think already submitted or made a recommendation to city council. The budget that they approved, or excuse me, that they submitted is, I don't know. I think everybody has mixed feelings about this. There will be, they're recommending no fee, no general services fee, no police fee that would be would broadly be for all citizens, all property owners. They did recommend that the city council carefully consider some other fees like pay for service, which is a fee that the police department would impose on places that have X number of call outs more than whatever they consider to be reasonable, if you will. And the example that's always given is Broadleaf Arbor. Apparently, they are there. Our police department is there once or twice a day, usually. So, you know, obviously, the city is looking for revenue clearly, but this is a widely used strategy throughout the state and probably nationally as well. There would be no furloughs if this budget was adopted. There would be no COLA, although the union, both the police union and the city employees union are currently in contract negotiations, and the expectation is that COLA may not go away, just depending on how that goes. The proposed budget has a 4% reduction from our original proposed budget. That means about $855,000. I'm just going to get the number for you. $855,050. Of that, about $197,000 is for materials and supplies. The rest of that covers staff. Of that amount, of the 197,000, 134,000 this coming year will be spent on facilities maintenance, facilities, boy, I'm having a hard time with words today. Building maintenance, our TLC, which is the baseline, it's called it's a management system for all of our records patrons, for items, for all of those things, and some other foundational things that we can't run the library without having. And then the rest of those funds go to things like about $32,000 this coming year will be devoted to purchasing print items, and about another $10,000, give or take, for DVDs and audiobooks. And I will say this, audiobooks, you know, there are fewer and fewer people that are using those audiobooks. I'm doing the purchasing right now until Jana gets her feet under her for the youth materials. I've not purchased a CD audiobook this year. And I don't think there's any new nonfiction either. We did a big weed of the audiobooks in the children's area, the youth materials and the YA materials about 6 months ago. And we kept the classics. We kept things that have circulated more than 5 times in the last 5 years. And we set aside we weeded about 50% of that collection. So it's just really not getting the use. It'll get more use in the summer. Lots of families use them, I guess, when they're traveling and, you know, that kind of thing, but, or to supplement reading in the summer. Anyway, so, you know, I think we're in pretty good shape. We're going to have to cut some corners. Probably it's going to come out of print materials, and maybe some library of things items. What's going to happen next is the budget committee has made their recommendation to city council. City council has to approve something by the end of the fiscal year. So that means their next meeting, unless they call a special meeting after June 18th, because the following meeting would be in July. They can do whatever they need to do or want to do with that budget. They can accept it as presented, as proposed. They can start afresh. They can make any changes they want. there's a large disadvantage to the proposed budget that the budget committee sent forward, and that is that it reduces the city's revenue reserve to 6%. Best practice is 20%. So, all of the city council members are very uncomfortable with that 6% level. So there may be some wiggle room in there. They may make different choices based on that alone, as well as other things that I'm not privy to. But I think because we're such a small part of the city budget, because we had a very pared down budget already, I made just a couple of increases for the proposed year from this year, and I've pulled those back as well. So I think the library budget's in as good a shape as it could be. And we'll just have to see what the city council is going to do. The other challenge would be if this budget gets approved as is, and there are changes, either the fees don't come to pass, that the budget committee is recommending. If there are other changes, environmental changes, then there will be a supplemental budget that will be submitted sometime during the fiscal year, and that would probably have a very big impact on everybody's budget. And the other thing, every department's budget, and that was the other thing I wanted to mention, is these reductions are across the board. Every department took a budget reduction. So, pretty equitable. Of course, we're really relieved and glad that the furloughs are off the table. I don't think nobody wanted that to happen anyway. And I think realistically, people were looking at whether or not that was going to pass the union negotiations. And it was pretty clear that was going to be very hard to make that happen. And again, nobody wanted to do that anyway. So that's where we are with the budget. Again, I think we're in pretty good shape. I will let you know when we've got our final budget approved, of course, and that might be as early as next week. Speaking of next week, the quarterly report to council, I will be giving at that or handing in for the June 18th meeting. It'll be the same format as the last one. I'll forward it to you when I've got it completed. It's very pro forma. It's, some stats, some narrative about projects and programs that are going on. Of course, there'll be a lot about Summer Library Challenge in there. And it's a page and a half, and the past, all of the reports that have been submitted to City Council, and each department does a quarterly report. There have been no questions. I think Public Works got one question one time, but the City Council just thanks us for putting that information together, and they move on with their meeting. So it's good. It's a good opportunity for us to, put together the information to really show how we shine and how we support the community. And speaking of supporting the community, it's almost time for Summer Library Challenge. Starts on Monday, so brace yourself. It's going to be a wild start. Those Monday and Tuesday of the first days of Summer Library Challenge are really just, controlled chaos. We have lots and lots of families coming in, everybody collecting their bookmarks and their backpacks and their free books. So Monday and Tuesday will be really, really busy. Things tend to settle out a little bit on Wednesday and then quiet down for the rest of the week. But, we'll see 100, 200 people coming in the door just to do Summer Library Challenge on top of everything else that we're doing already in the building. So it's pretty exciting. First events next week are the book club on Tuesday. Terry leads that, as you know, and she's doing Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, which, if you haven't read it, is a delightful read. And as you know, she runs a really lovely book club. Their kickoff event is on Wednesday. It's the puppet dance party. So if you have kids or if you want to get a little light on your toes, you're welcome to join in. We expect that to be pretty popular. And then the first adult program is that week on Wednesday night. It's a game night for adults, and we're encouraging people to bring their own games if they want. We've got a big old pile of games for people just to play and enjoy a evening out. That is for adults only. Makerspace. So you may have heard, I think I put it in my email. The lease was approved by City Council with the Columbia Learning Center Board. So we are now officially ensconced in that, all of that makerspace. And, we're over the moon about that. All of the equipment that we are planning to have in that space has been moved over to that space. Jana has a great team of volunteers that have taken piles of fabric and notions and 3D pens and just an amazing collection, taken all the stuff we have and organized it and inventoried it and put it in new storage space. So it's really coming together nicely. It also, moving that stuff has given us a lot more space in the original makerspace for where we need it for the 3D printer and for the Glowforge and for workspace adjacent to those things. So if you're working on a laptop like you do for many of those items, you can work right there next to it, which will make it just a lot nicer for folks. Local history collection, just a little update. Brenda continues to move materials in there. It's going to be a little slow getting those materials cataloged, the ones that are left to be cataloged before they go in that space, just because it's summer and everything, all the cataloging sort of, it trickles through, but Nicole's got other things that she's working on. She does a lot of in fact, she coordinates all of the adult programming except for the book clubs and the genealogy programs. So we keep her very busy in the summer. So that's moving forward. Just a couple of building asides. We need a new air conditioner in the new makerspace. Yay. And our master panel for the security alarm system was replaced. It was installed when the building was built in 1996. It has done yeoman's work. We've had the same technician from Secure Pacific since the building was built, Chuck. And he came over with a couple of other people from Secure Pacific and installed our new master panels. We are now using state of the art, which means cell connection. We don't have a landline to those panels anymore. And so honestly, that makes me a little wiggly, but it is state of the art. You can't even buy one that uses a landline anymore. So anyway, we're very happy that's set up. It's also giving us some better opportunities for tracking who's in and out of the building and when, so we can, as a safety measure, of course. And then I now have remote access. So if the building alarm goes off and the police give us the all clear, I can arm it from the comfort of my home instead of coming down to the library to manually arm it. So that'll be nice too. And speaking of hot weather, cooling center, we're going to be the only cooling center in the county. There, of course, are, the bowling alley and Grace Christian and Senior Center, when they're open, are also invite people to come, but we're the only ones that are going to stay late if we can manage it with volunteers and staff, city staff. So the extreme weather group is meeting, I think it's tomorrow or Wednesday, and we'll talk about what the coordination might be like this year. Last year, Kat helped us and CERT was helpful. The county emergency management got us some water and a couple of other things, some fidget toys and some games and such. So I'm hopeful that we'll get that support again this year. And we did have a number of volunteers from CAT and CERT that came to help us staff the hallway so we could keep that part of the building open, or we could keep the library proper and the hallway open. And we had, I think we had 100 people come through the last year when we had that heat event. So there were people there that clearly needed a cool space to be. We actually even had the Columbia River Fire and Rescue brought us someone who had heat exhaustion, and she needed to go somewhere cool, and they gave her the okay and brought her in the ambulance over to us and handed her over in the hallway. So we were glad we could be there for her. Teen internship, we have 6 teens that meet our criteria, and we're going to be interviewing them this week or next. Very excited. There's some really lovely kiddos in there, young people in there. We're really looking forward to meeting them and getting somebody settled in. We hope that we'll be able to get them started as early as the end of next week. So we're doing our interviews, as I said, this week and early next week. Brenda, I wanted to add or share that Brenda did some quick counting, in between January 1st and May 31st of this year, we had 14,925 visits to the library. Last year's same time period, 11,952. So, you know, people are coming back, they're coming to the library. We love that they need us. They need us. May 8th showed us the highest number of patrons in a day. It was 204 people through the door that day. Highest average number of patrons per hour is 23. That's a lot for two people at the desk and some folks to back them up. That's a lot of time. And we averaged 32 items per hour checked in and out. Again, that's every one of those touches is 30 seconds to a minute. And of course, if you're helping patrons find items as well, that adds to the time. So yeah, you guys are keeping us busy. And then the last thing I have is that just a reminder that we'll be closed on Memorial Day, May 26th. And that is all I have. Oh, wait, we already had Memorial Day, didn't we? Oh, never mind. Next one is July 4th and 5th. You know, I was just talking to a patron today. I don't know what happened to May. We were all sort of shaking our heads. It just seems like it flew by. So anyway, now that is all I had.
Really quick question. For the maker space, are you looking for like a window unit AC or is yes?
Yeah, we have it that server room has isn't served by the HVAC system, so we just have a little window unit there.
Okay, part of the reason I asked is because I think the AC unit from our house got salvaged, but David and I are not going to need it in the new house because we have a mini split throughout the house.
Oh,
So
nice.
we may have one we can donate to you.
Okay.
That works.
Great.
So just let me talk to him, but if so, I would be more than happy to donate it to the library.
Wonderful.
So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you very
No
much.
problem.
It'll save us $400.
Yep. Every little bit helps.
It
That's a lot
does.
of books.
I wasn't being silly. I mean it. $400 is a lot, means a lot to us.
So that was it for the library's director's report. Next we have the city council report. Our liaison is Mayor Massey. I don't
She's
see
not
her
here.
on. Do you have any information, Suzanne, about? Oh, no. Okay.
No, I haven't. No, I don't.
Okay, we already dealt with the election of vice chair. So summarize action items. What I have off the top of my head is ask city council to name the local history room. Are there any other action items?
Do we want to say something about the subcommittee, the strategic plan subcommittee? I don't know if there's actually an action item in there or if it's just staff follow-up.
Well, so we had already, I guess, created the subcommittee to, I guess, gather information and come back to the main board with a recommendation. We came back kind of with an intermediary request to approve a process. And so now we're going to go back out and then come back at a later time with a request for recommendation. So
okay.
Yes, I guess that's an action item to continue.
All right.
Anything else? I can't think of anything. So our next item is the last item, adjournment. Does anyone have a motion?
I make a motion to adjourn.
All right. So Lynn makes a motion. Rob also raised his hand kind of simultaneously. So I assume that would be a second. Is that
That'll
accurate?
be a second, sure.
All right. Assuming no discussion, all in favor of adjourning, raise your hand or say aye. Thank you, everyone. We are adjourned and have a good night.
Thank you, Aaron.
See you next week, I hope.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'll go ahead and end it.
Still recording.